Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. Welcome back to Off-Topić Thursday, and I don't remember what episode number this is. It's either 4 or 5. Editing Jake will put it right here somewhere. But if you guys are unaware, obviously I talk a lot about books on this channel, but I've made it a point that every third Thursday of the month I will do an off-topic video that's unrelated to books. Now, some past videos I've done were about like horror movies, and then some other stuff that's not book related. I've talked about music, movies, and for this video in particular, it'll be interesting because it's not really about any of that. It's more about my personal life, and you guys have probably already seen the title. This is about how I lost 100 pounds. So kind of taking you through my weight loss journey here. Now I'm going to talk about different aspects. The first part of this video will be sort of like my weight loss history. So like my history of weight loss. And then the second part is going to be why I decided to lose weight. That might be a little bit of a heavy part of the video, so be prepared for that. And then the third part is going to be how I lost the weight, which a lot of people, when I tell them that I lost 100 pounds, they are either very curious about how I did that, or they're like, I need to know how you did it, because like they want to lose weight too. So if you want to stick around for any of those parts, stick around. If not, I will return tomorrow for a Stephen King video, of course, for Stephen King Friday. But for this one, it's going to be my weight loss journey. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So if you are curious, I did lose 100 pounds. My heaviest, I was in college, or I just graduated college in my late 20s, and I was just about 300 pounds, maybe like a little bit less, but basically just about 300 pounds. And at my lowest, after I lost all the weight, I was actually just under 180 pounds. I actually lost a little bit more than 100 pounds. Right now, currently, I am sitting at about just under 200 pounds, like 195. That's kind of like my safe spot, if you will. Like, I don't really have to do anything crazy. That's kind of just my stable weight now, which I attribute to basic exercise and basic eating healthy and healthy lifestyle choices and all that jazz. And when I was growing up, I was definitely a bit of a heavy kid. I wouldn't necessarily call myself like obese, but you know, I got picked on a little bit for being the fat kid. It didn't really bother me that much. I just kind of shrugged it off. I'm like, oh, well, what are you going to do? You know? But yeah, I was, the fat kid in elementary school, middle school, and even in high school. And then when I went to college, obviously, the freshman 15 gained a little bit of weight, but I think it was offset a little bit because you guys know I'm a big music guy. I'm a big drummer. In college, I was on the marching band, and that started, of course, in the summer for football season and made its way into winter. So basically the first semester of college for freshman and sophomore year was marching band, and I'm carrying around this big ass bass drum. And so I think if I wasn't doing that, I would have gained more weight. So I think that kind of offset some things there. But then, so that was like the first 2 years of college. And then after that, I quit band. It just wasn't what I really wanted to do at that point in my life. And because of that, I think I gained a bit more weight because I really wasn't eating well. Obviously in college, eating a bunch of junk food and fast food and just not great stuff. And then, in my later years of college, not doing marching band or any kind of band as well, wasn't really exercising, wasn't really getting that form of exercise that I needed to offset all this crap that I was eating. So I was just slowly gaining and gaining more weight until by the end of college, I was basically 300 pounds. And I'll throw in some pictures here I won't show any pictures of what I look like as a kid, but it's what I look like at my heaviest right here. So that's kind of my history with like before I lost all the weight. And now we kind of get to the hard part of the video of why I decided to lose all this weight. Because, like I mentioned, I was 300 pounds. And I will say, like, as an adult, I experienced basically all of, like, the major deaths I had as an adult. When I was a kid, very lucky to not really lose anybody. But, like, in my early 20s, I think this is like 2016, I lost my grandmother. Then a few years after that, I lost my grandfather. And then my dog, who I'd had since a kid, died in front of me. And then in 2020, my dad died. And I won't really get into specifics about that, but that was kind of the linchpin of, like, it was April 2020, and just like that month was just like the worst month of my life, obviously, for obvious reasons. But starting in May, I kind of just made a promise to myself. I'm like, you know what? I don't know how much longer I have on this earth, so why don't I just try this, see if it works out? Like, I don't really want to be overweight anymore. Like, I need to do something about it now. And my doctors were always just like, this is the perfect time to do it, because as you get older, it's just going to get harder and harder to do it. So starting in May, that's kind of the catalyst. Like, my dad died, and I was just like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Like, I want to just do this for myself. And I did. And so, here's a before and after. Like, I've already showed you this. This is what I looked at, like, at my heaviest. And then, as I said, I got down to below 180, which I'm not at currently, but at my lowest 180, this is what I looked like. Very skinny for me, obviously. That's really probably the lightest I had been since maybe even middle school. Like, it definitely, like, beginning years of high school. Like, I lost a lot of weight very quickly. And the next part of this video is basically going to be describing how I was able to do that. So I will say the best thing that I did, because when I was overweight, I was drinking a ton of sugary drinks. I drank a ton of Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, brisk iced tea, lemonade, like just all kinds of sugary drinks. And looking back now, like, that's probably one of the main reasons why I was overweight, but also just bad eating habits, eating a lot of junk food and fast food, not exercising. But I think that was a main catalyst as well. So one of the main things that I did that I think had the best impact was just drinking water. Like 99.9% of what I drank was just water. And immediately, within the first month, I think I probably lost like 20 pounds. And I was just like, oh, wow, this happened very quickly. I assumed it was going to be kind of a slow process, but I kind of just did like a little bit at the beginning, and my body was just like, oh, wow, like I can relax. Like, I only have to digest water. I don't have to process all of this sugary badness. So I think that's the main reason. But also, I cut out junk food, I cut out fast food, and I just replaced it with healthier stuff. So I think those two reasons, and the fact that I slowly built up my exercise regime. Because a lot of people, they make the mistake of like, oh, I'm going to lose weight, I got to go really hard at the beginning, I got to do all this crazy stuff. And then what do? They get tired of doing that, they hurt themselves, they get frustrated. But what I did, I started out basically with just 20-minute walks a day. And then as I kind of plateaued sometimes, because like, it can get frustrating, but like there would be these like kind of like week-long periods where like, oh, I lost all this weight, but then you get on the scale and it just didn't change. That's when I would up the ante and like, oh, I'm not doing 20-minute walks, I'm doing 30-minute walks. And then that kind of spiraled out of control a little bit, because by the time I was losing, like, getting under 200 pounds and maintaining being under 200 pounds, I was walking at least 5 miles a day, if not sometimes 10. So it got a little out of hand, but that's kind of the main reason why I was able to lose weight. A lot of cardio, only drinking water. I also was fasting at some points, like doing 16-hour fast, like basically just not eating breakfast and eating lunch and dinner, maybe like a small snack. So just, a lot of walking, a lot of water, eating very healthy, fasting. That was kind of what worked for me. Now, at the beginning, like I mentioned, I was doing a lot of cardio. I started doing weightlifting and I liked it, but I think focusing more on the cardio really helped with the weight loss. Now that I've, lost all the weight and I'm keeping off all the weight, I do find it hard to gain muscle. So probably would have been a smarter idea to balance the two. Because, now every time I try to do weightlifting, I'm like, I'm not really gaining much muscle. So, oh well, I'm fine with where I am, obviously, but, that's a side effect, I think. Now, I'm not a weight loss guru or an expert, but I'm just letting you know this is what worked for me. So take with that what you will. So yeah, that's kind of my weight loss journey. I don't want to go into too much more detail. I don't want this video to be super long, but basically, growing up, I was a bit overweight, but then, once I was like 300 pounds or like just under that, I decided, you know what, enough with this. And I still think the main reason, I just drank so much water and my body was just like, oh, I don't have to process all of this soda. I think that was the main reason, but also cutting out fast food, junk food, eating real food. And a lot of people, will say like, oh, you can't have any sugar, so don't eat fruits. But I ate a ton of fruits. I ate bananas, strawberries. I ate all that, like real food, I think is also the key. So there's that. But yeah, that's basically what I did, why I did it. And yeah, and like I mentioned, at my lowest, I was about like 177, like just under 180. And that was just too ridiculous to keep up because that was like me, again, walking 5 miles a day, doing interval running, 16-hour fast. I just could not handle that anymore. So I eat 3 meals a day with some snacks. I do minimal exercise, like I go on walks. Obviously, my job for the Postal Service, I am outside a lot delivering, so there's that as well. And yeah, I'm kind of maintaining like 195, like just around there, just under 200 pounds. That's with like minimal effort, which, if I looked back like 10 years ago, I never would have thought I'd be able to say that. But with a lot of discipline, with a lot of determination, that's what happened. All right, so that's my quick little Off-Topić Thursday video for my weight loss journey, how I lost 100 pounds. Hopefully you guys thought this was interesting because this is what y'all voted to watch. I think in the future, I might do some more personal stuff like this, but I love talking about other off-topic stuff like movies, music, TV shows, and next month in December, it's obviously Christmas holiday season, I'm probably going to be talking about my top 10 favorite Christmas movies of all time, so be prepared for that. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys thought of my weight loss journey. Did I help y'all at all in this? Did you enjoy hearing my story? Comment down below any thoughts you guys have. But stay tuned tomorrow for Stephen King Friday, where I talk about some underrated Stephen King protagonists. So that's tomorrow's video. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Stay subscribed for more content. I try to post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and every third Thursday for Off-Topić Thursday. Book us from our Discord down below, where we've got tons of read-alongs and buddy reads going on all the damn time. Patreon down below if you want to go support me there for as little as $1 a month. And my Amazon wishlist if you'd like to buy me a book. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.